class last year for Area 1, and I won Area 1 in C class, but I think I would have won B with that score. So they put me up.
You have about as much business in C class as Hopkins does, which is to say you have none. All right, welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name is Ben Steger, here to answer your shooting questions. Joining us today, Tim Herron.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nick.
Hey, guys.
Nick the Dick. And
God.
Matt Hopkins.
Right out of the gate?
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Crazy.
It's out of control. Okay, and somebody new today from Alberta, Canada. It's Jeff Chang. Say hi,
Hello,
Jeff.
everyone. Hello.
All right, so people might be wondering about Jeff. Jeff is you're Canadian by birth, Hong
Yes.
Kongese by descent, and
Yes.
British by education.
That's right.
Which means what? I don't understand.
I don't most of the time as well.
Okay, so Jeff is an open shooter from Canada. He likes to argue on forums, which that makes him interesting for us. So Jeff, today the topic is the Target Array Handbook, which is a thing that was a big deal in IPSC like a year ago, right?
A year or two ago. It came out, I think it was June 2013.
Okay.
No one knew about it.
No one knew about it. So what is it?
It's a set of rules that was published by IPSC headquarters, basically governing how stages can be laid out and how targets can be presented. And it's not completely inclusive or exclusive of targets and how they can be laid out, but it serves as a guideline, and it's how they decide what to approve as far as level 3 and greater matches or not.
All right. This is interesting for us because I think the question for USPSA shooters, well, most of them haven't heard of this, so they'll be like, well, what is this thing? So you're going to explain what it is because you like to argue about it. And then I think the question for the panel is going to be, is this a good thing or not? So what is in the Target Array Handbook specifically?
So specifically, it deals with how targets can be presented. So it goes through examples of approved target presentations, including multiple targets. And the idea behind this handbook is that all presentations must reflect something practical.
What does that mean? Practical.
It's not defined.
Okay, what do you think that means, based on the context of the Target Array Handbook?
I think what they're getting at is this must be a real-world situation, or at least representative of a real-world situation, much like what you'd expect to see in IDPA.
So it has to look like a dude, like at the mall or something like that, but not an alien.
Basically, yes.
Okay, panel guys, are you guys confused yet?
Completely.
All right, so I put the Target Array Handbook up in the group chat, so you guys all clicked on it and can see what's going on. All right, Jeff, how did this thing come into being? How did this happen?
It came into being when I was actually a match director, and I had put out some targets, and I was shot down by someone here in our province, basically saying that's not allowed. And it became, well, who said it's not allowed? And then this handbook was pointed out. And after a bit of digging, it was buried somewhere in Global Village in some thread posted by someone. It didn't seem like an official document, so none of us knew it existed, but yet we all still had to follow the rules laid out in it.
Is this like an official rule in IPSC?
It's official, but it's still not to be found anywhere for the public on the IPSC website. It's still within the Global Village forums, which unfortunately many of us Canadians cannot access.
All right. I think I speak for a lot of Americans when I say, what the fuck are you talking about?
So the IPSC, well, someone in the IPSC decided it was good to have an official channel through which communication can occur, and they created a forum called the Global Village, and it's really exclusively for discussion of IPSC and all its related topics.
Okay, and then so you're saying that the target array handbook is a rule. It is an official rule, but you can't find it anywhere.
Nor is it referred to in the rule book. So
Well,
it exists and it stands alone.
I went onto the IPSC website looking for the rules because you said this would be a good topic to talk about. I went onto IPSC.org, I think, clicked into the rules, and I didn't see this thing anywhere.
It's not in there.
But it is an official rule.
But it is an official rule.
Okay.
One of the problems with this official rule is they intentionally leave a lot of things blank, and the idea behind that is they want wiggle room as far as what they can approve and not.
All right, so what do you mean by approve or not? Are we talking about level 2 matches or level 3 matches or something like that? You have to submit all the stages?
So you don't have to submit level 2 and below. Level 3 will have to be approved, and that's where they would use this handbook and their best judgment to decide what they will approve and not. For level 2 matches, we're not really bound by this, but because we are designing matches that kind of comply with the higher level type of matches, then we do go along with it anyways.
Okay. So far, let's get a reaction from the USPSA shooters that are very confused, I would imagine, right now. Tim Heron, what do you think of where we're at so far? So we got a target array handbook for IPSC for level 3 matches and above.
Right.
Now, just in fairness, I'm going to point out that major matches for USPSA also need approval.
Right.
Okay. They need approval from NROI. So what do you think so far of the target array handbook, just the concept?
The concept of it, I don't know, it's kind of hokey to me. I mean, you can split a target in half and cut it in half, or chop it this way, or you can run, like a black hardcover all the way down the center of the A zone. However, you can't.
So you've been reading through this thing already.
Oh my God, dude! My mind is utterly blown already. And the fact that it's its own handbook, yet like USPSA rules, it's like there's some rules in there, but it's in their regular USPSA handbook. It doesn't need or have its own book or text or pictures, and everything is accompanied with this thing. It's accompanied with a fucking picture. It's like, this is allowed, and then 37 other. Well, I like the pictures too, but then there's this one thing is allowed, and then there's 31 other examples of this is not allowed.
All right.
And then the next page is like 32 examples of this is not allowed, and one example in the middle someplace of okay, this is allowed. It's the most confusing goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life.
All right. If anybody's curious about the target array handbook, I'll be leaving it in the show notes on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see it in all its glory, that's where it'll be if you want to take a look at it.
It is glorious.
What do you think of the core concept of the target array handbook?
The core concept I don't find objectionable, but I think this particular implementation of it appears to be pretty far out there. I don't know, and Ben's not kidding. He sent us this link 5 minutes ago or less.
No, I wanted you guys to be surprised by this.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a really genuine reaction.
Okay, my first thought is, very occasionally at matches in the U.S. have I seen target presentations that I think are not fair or kind of ridiculous. Very occasionally, okay? So I think this book, to me, is kind of going the other direction. Just flipping through it, there's a lot of different target presentations here that I think are very fair and entertaining that they are saying are not approved. So my first thought is, especially the way they have it done here, is that it's going to be limiting stage design for no particular reason that I can see.
All right, Hopkins, what do you think of this? You probably know a little bit. You probably know a little more about this than these other two retards.
I do follow the Global Village a little bit, but I didn't really follow this and know how out of control it got. So, like, they've approved an array where you have, like, a target, a no-shoot, and another target. But if you put two of those together, that is not an approved array. I'm like, I don't understand that. So, like, how they determine this is pretty crazy.
And you can't have hardcover between those either. Only a no-shoot.
Yeah, it's.
We'll get into the specifics in a minute. But so Hopkins, do you have a problem with the core concept of having a handbook that's going to help you determine what's going to be approved and what's not going to be approved?
I don't have a problem with it really.
Do you like it? So let's say you're designing a level 3 match, the Hopkins Hose Fest, and you got this handbook to help you out to let you know what who is it now who does the approval on stages?
Troy.
Is it Troy? Yeah. So it'll let you know what Troy's going to approve and what he's not.
I don't know. I mean, if it's the same for everybody, but it does. I can see where Nick's coming from. It does stifle creativity a little.
Stifles your creativity.
Yeah. Other than that, I've got no problem with it.
Okay, Jeff.
Do we have some kind of rash of unfair, ridiculous target presentations at USPSA matches?
That's an interesting question. So, Jeff, is this in response to a rash of stupid target presentations for IPSC?
I don't think it was anything specific, but there was a comment that was made on Global Village that things were getting progressively out of hand. I'm not sure what that means, but I don't think it's any specific instance of any match in particular.
Okay. So this thing came about. Now that you have this target array handbook, has it affected matches at all, would you say, for you?
It's been a topic of discussion, I suppose. One of the things that isn't allowed anymore is to put multiple targets together. So, for example, stacking 3 targets together is not allowed by the handbook. Putting 2 double stacks side by side, making 4 targets in one array is also not allowed by this handbook. I mean, those things, that does limit creativity and that does limit stage design. The other thing that really does affect us is not allowing plate racks to be used.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have some approved plate rack configurations in the back of this thing.
As long as there's only 2 plates showing.
As long as there's only 2 plates on it.
Are a common base. Right now, I'm gonna say I like that. Fuck plate racks.
Get out of here.
Do you know how many reshoots you have because of plate racks? Fuck plate racks.
Oh wait,
I mean,
I want to get back to the central concept here that we're trying to make realistic scenarios out of a bunch of classic targets.
Well, I mean, to me, the core concept is here's a handbook that's letting you know what we're going to approve and what we're not going to approve.
But we're going to hide it deep in the internet someplace and only tell...
Well, that's a little fucked up, I suppose.
3 people in the world.
All right, go ahead, Nick. You want to...
No, I just
make some sort of important point about this.
It wasn't that important. I just find it a little humorous that that they're taking a bunch of classic targets and then deciding what seemingly random presentations represent a self-defense scenario and which ones don't. I mean, there's no.
Well, it doesn't say self-defense. I'll tell. I guess let me describe this for the listeners so they know kind of what this thing is without having to click on it. It says, there's a few sections where it says what sort of targets are allowed and what aren't. It says when cutting scoring paper targets or no-shoots, only the lower portion or a diagonal portion or one of the sides can be cut. So you can cut the targets in half pretty much any way you like. You just can't cut off the top half. So you're always going to get the top half of the target or some top portion of the target. You can hard cover them also pretty much any way that you'd see in USPSA. If you're going to cut a target in half, you need to have at least 1 meter between halves of the target. If you're going to use them that way, if you cut a target in half and then put the halves together but make them separate scoring targets, that's not approved, which I suppose makes sense. There's a few specific no-shoot configurations that are not approved. So basically, you have to use a whole target as a no-shoot. You can't use some portion of a target as a no-shoot. It restricts the maximum height of a target. And so
you have an entire panel of people literally with drool coming out of their mouth.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
What the hell?
There's 2 pretty ironic things I thought about it.
Well, let me tell you the part that is confusing, or I guess the part that you'd have people arguing about, and I'm sure Jeff will back this part up. It's section 2.5. It says target arrays which are illogical or impractical or which are overly complicated, thereby making them difficult to replace consistently for the duration of a match, will not be approved. And then it goes on to list a bunch of examples of, where there's a bunch of targets on a few stands. It lists a bunch of examples that aren't approved.
That look just like a USPSA classifier.
Yeah, they basically they do. They look just like USPSA classifiers. Where it's kind of like looking at those examples. I mean, okay, I get it. You're not going to approve those things, but it's hard to kind of figure out what will be approved. Like, well, saying target arrays which are illogical or impractical, that's covering a whole lot of ground. Jeff, correct me if this is wrong. That was a lot of the discussion about this, is kind of figuring out, well, what's illogical or impractical? What does that mean?
I think also one of the issues that I personally take with this entire thing is there's been a lot of arguments saying that a target is merely a scoring apparatus. You shoot at this target and you score it. That's all a target represents.
It represents a person, man. We're shredding people. We're going to kill people, man.
That's what this target handbook is about. Otherwise, the word practical doesn't come into play here. So people on the IPSC executive board will argue that the targets don't mean anything apart from a way to score, but yet they ask for us to present a practical presentation, which the two are mutually exclusive in my mind.
I would agree with that.
That's one of the things I was going to touch on. One of the executive council members, all he talks about is this being practical setup, and then they don't use practical targets. They don't use stuff with heads on them. They've explicitly banned those from the sport.
Well, they banned targets with heads, but the targets are still about the same size as a human torso.
Well, yeah, you can get that.
With scoring zones approximating where you want to hit on a human torso.
Yeah.
That's about right, isn't it, Jeff?
I suppose. I mean, we do call them turtle targets, so I mean, they look more like turtles than people.
They resemble closer to like body armor, I think.
So we're training for shooting police. Is that what it is, Jeff?
Awesome.
Is that bad? What? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Other parts of the world have immense turtle population issues.
I was going to say other parts of the world, the police don't wear Kevlar.
Yeah, shoot him in the vest. That's what you're trying to do, right?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Do you shoot a lot of police, Nick? You son of a bitch.
I shoot with a lot of police, not really at them.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, so I guess I think the main question is a thing like this, like a handbook, letting you know what would be approved or not. Is this a good idea for USPSA? Hopkins, what do you think? Should we have something like this? The core concept, I think, is not that objectionable, is it?
No, but getting everybody to agree on something like this would be never.
Well, those motherfuckers don't have to agree because they send their stages to Troy for major matches anyway.
Yeah, but has any?
Right?
I don't know if any stage that's been thrown out because of how they put the no shoots on the diagram that they sent to Troy.
Probably not. Well, are there any configurations of targets that you don't like? Because this would be a good opportunity to get rid of them.
Any effect on? So can I just tailor this to my game and we'll call it good?
If you want, I mean, you could answer it however you like. You could say, "Well, I don't like setting them up this way, and fuck those targets."
No, I think it's a decent idea. I don't think it is it needed though. No, I think we're doing fine without it.
All right, Yantola, I'm sure you're on board with this thing 110%.
Well, I'll cite this one example that I've seen on video recently of what I would consider an unfair target presentation. I don't even know what match it was. It was something that was one of Olechek's videos, and he was showing a target that had zebra pattern of hardcover on it, okay? And especially, in my opinion, if you're shooting that target beyond, like, for any kind of range, really, for most shooters, that's kind of a crapshoot, right? If they're going to aim for the center zero zone,
Wait,
then
so they zebra striped it with hardcover is what you're saying?
yes, they zebra striped a metric target with hardcover. So
What's not practical about that?
Well, I'm not saying whether it's practical or not. I'm saying it's unfair. It's an unfair target presentation because
What's unfair about it?
say you I don't think they were shooting it this far away, but if you back that target out to 15 or 20 yards, and you take your average, C-class dude or whatever, they're going to be shooting at the center A zone. Okay, so if you miss and you hit the inside part of the C zone, that's a mic. But if you miss worse, you get some of the other C zone out there, and you get points for it.
What's unfair about that? It's the same for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's a
Yeah, it is.
crapshoot, man.
It's the same target for everybody.
That's a crapshoot. That's luck of the draw, and you're being penalized worse for a better shot than other people that are getting points for a.
Well, wouldn't you just be so you would have a target array handbook and say no zebra striping targets?
I'm saying that I've seen. Okay, this is the point. So in very rare cases like that, I've seen some target presentations that I feel are not necessarily fair. But at the same time, I think that kind of stuff will be kind of self-correcting. People will bitch about it to the match director or whatever. I think it'll be kind of go away.
That's why match directors never do anything anymore that people would bitch about.
So
it corrects itself.
Yeah,
right?
So I don't know. I don't think we need this now. I'm not saying I'm like super opposed to the concept if it came to that, but I just don't think we need it. I don't think there's a big enough.
Do you like the
problem
idea of having a target array handbook?
If we got a bunch of like retarded target arrays and it was a major problem.
Hey, you saw a Matt Olachek video with retarded targets. Do you want to get rid of it or not?
I saw 2 retarded targets, and that's it.
That's 2. That's fucking. I mean, it stuck in your memory, didn't it? You're like, God. You're like, man, that's retarded. That's stupid.
Still, man, this coming out with a big handbook like this would be an overreaction to what is an extremely minor
problem. It wasn't that big. I was
right
exaggerating a bit when I said it was 600 pages. I think it's not
pages.
600. It's 14 pages, and it's mostly pictures, so there's not a lot of reading, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So would you get rid of plate racks? So no plate racks and no zebra stripe targets.
What's wrong with plate racks again?
A lot of reshoots due to plate racks, Holmes.
They don't put them in matches. Most of the matches I don't think I've ever been in.
When they do put them in matches, there's a lot of reshoots. Because if you hit a plate and it doesn't fall, that's a problem. If you hit a plate and it flips back up, that's a problem. If you hit a plate and 2 fall, that's a problem. Plate racks are problematic.
All right, maybe they need better plate racks.
No, even the really good ones have issues occasionally.
Okay.
So whatever.
I haven't shot a lot of plate racks during matches, so I'll take it for it.
Okay. I'll just tell you, there's a reason for that. There's a target array you'd put in there, Hopkins. Go.
If
what is it?
you have a target and then a no-shoot behind it,
you don't like that?
That would be one I would put in there. Same with putting a no-shoot behind a steal. Well, that's a double penalty. If you miss the target, you get a mic and a no-shoot now.
Right.
So it's a double.
You don't like that. Well, what's the problem with that?
Shoot out there.
What's not practical about that?
I don't know. I'm just saying I don't like it. That's what
Let's say you're a Walker Texas Ranger. You go into a hostage situation, and you can't use kung fu or anything. You got to shoot a dude, and if you miss, you hit you hit like an innocent person. That's bad, right? That's what's not practical about that.
What's different for that versus any other target that has a no-shoot staple in the front of it?
Because it's on the front of it. On the front is okay because it's covering up something. On the back of it is a miss, and if you edge the target, you're going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
I just have an issue with it.
All right. I just don't like it. Okay, that's fine. Tim, this sounds like a great opportunity to get rid of target presentations you personally don't like, even if you can't explain it. Right?
I guess you could.
Was this a good idea for USPSA? When Manny becomes president, you say, yes, Manny, target array handbook. Let's get on that shit. It sounds awesome.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't see it. I'm kind of like Nick. I don't see it being a huge problem.
It's
At
not
the
a huge
same time,
problem.
it may not be a bad
Improve
idea.
the sport.
Yeah, it may not be a bad idea, but at the same time, I don't think we need to hide it. 27 threads deep in
Okay, well, obviously
Enos
we're
or
not going to
something.
put it on Global Village because that's pointless. But the core concept of having a target array handbook is not one that you find objectionable.
No, I don't think so. I think my only objectionable point would be everybody then is going to be walking around, walking stages before a major match with their fucking handbook opened up, looking at ways that they can try to downplay stages that they may or may not like.
Really?
And then I
They do that in IDPA. Yeah.
Do they read the rule book?
no,
Somebody
they got a
thinks they
tiger
did.
team to tell them.
They need a tiger team. All right, Jeff, would you say matches have substantially improved as a result of the target array handbook? It's way better now, right?
I haven't noticed a difference.
God damn it. You're killing me, man.
I mean,
Wrecking
I
me.
don't object to the idea at all. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think there are some things in here that really don't make sense.
Well, the part about having stuff that is generally confusing or impractical.
Sure, I mean, there's
Or
some
how
of them
about Section 4, carnival target arrays? Target arrays such as stars, plate racks, trees, and similar devices are not approved. All right. However, up to 2 authorized plates presented above a sturdy common base may be approved. How the fuck is it that you can have 2 plates, like 2 swinging plates, but not a Texas star? It
I-
doesn't
Sure, you
make
can
any
have
sense.
swinging plates?
What's that?
Can you have swinging plates?
Absolutely, yes, you can, for sure.
No, they have Texas Star not approved. They also have Polish
Texas-
Plate Rack not approved.
Texas stars are specifically not approved. Which I'll say, like honestly, I wouldn't miss them if they went away.
That's fine with me too.
Yeah, like I don't really care about them. Like
Oh,
I'm gonna get rid of Texas
Terribly
stars. That's cool.
inconsistent, dude.
Yeah, that's my
Terribly
problem.
inconsistent.
Well, I mean, they are if we're not gonna have carnival targets, okay, Texas stars are gonna be gone. But it is interesting to me that you could have swinging plates, but not Texas stars. So, could I get you?
Where are
I
you
don't
seeing?
know. Would you guys say that that the concept is sound, but the implementation is maybe a little fucked up on this? Is that what you would say, or no?
What I said earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not fundamentally opposed to the concept. I just think it's perhaps overbearing.
Okay, Nick? Is there stuff you see in USPSA commonly that you just really don't like?
No. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, if
Nothing.
it becomes some kind of massive problem, then fine, do something like this. But I don't think it's a regular enough problem.
How about the stage designers that the coolest thing they can come up with is to slap hardcover or no shoots all over everything?
I don't think that this is going to prevent that.
Well, you could write you could have like an IDPA style limitation on the number of no shoots for a stage if you wanted. Do you think that'd be a good idea?
No. That would be
No,
a
you
horrible idea.
Horrible. Why?
Why would you want to limit the number of no shoots on stage?
So you don't have the stage designers putting no shoots on every target. I mean, I'll say it's cool for one stage, once in a while, but you've gone to matches where they have no shoots and hardcover all over fucking everything, and it's not much fun. Was that something you'd want to do? Would you want to do something about that with a rule? You get to be king for a day. You're Manny. You're the president. What do you want to do?
I don't see a reason to limit the number of hardcover no shoot targets you can have. I think there maybe are, like I said, certain limited number of presentations that I find to be unfair that should be probably I wouldn't.
Well, it was just the
I wouldn't
one.
be
It
upset
was
if they were
just
banned.
anything in a Matt Olachek video.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Okay. There's actually
Maybe
something.
just Matt Olachek shouldn't be allowed to make videos.
Well, that's another.
That'd be the second one he shouldn't have released.
Okay. Look at 1.3 here. Okay.
All right. Target array handbook 1.3.
1.3. If a single target is cut vertically to represent 2 targets.
Yes. I'm
All right,
with
so
you.
like the one over there, number 23, like what is that? I don't like that.
What?
Yeah, I don't like that either.
And
That's
that-
what I
and
was
that one's-
talking about.
That one's
Okay.
approved.
How is that even acceptable? You know, that's a good point. How is it even acceptable? There's not enough ozone there to be a non.
No, there,
disagreement.
IPSC just says there has to be some portion of the A zone showing. That's right, isn't it, Jeff?
That is.
Yeah. So if there's
You could have,
some,
like a
if there's,
centimeter of it showing.
yeah. Well, is a centimeter a portion?
So this is, I don't think so the viewers aren't gonna, this is a classic target with a stripe of hardcover
Hardcover.
straight down the middle. It's
What's
covering
not
most of the
practical about
A zone.
that? You got some motherfucker hiding behind a light pole.
The strip is only like 2 inches wide.
Okay, it's just thin light pole. I don't know.
It's another case where you can miss a shot and actually get credit for the missed shot, whereas someone who actually made the shot better is going to have a mic.
What I'm saying is you got to pop a cap in this guy's ass and you got a light pole in the way.
Okay.
So you shoot him in the shoulder and we're good, right?
That's a delta. Deltas are generally not as good as alphas.
There's no alpha showing on that target.
There's some alphas, a little bit.
That's not enough.
Yeah, you could squeak a bullet in there.
Oh man.
It's a random draw the way they have it right there.
All right.
It's not a fair target.
I do like the fact that you can cut that target in half and have 2 different targets. However, they can't be less than 1 meter apart.
A meter does seem sort of arbitrary. Jeff, if you had this to do over again, using your massive experience in IPSC in Canada, and I want you to know that Americans have massive respect for Canadian practical shooting. Right, guys?
Not even touching that one.
You guys are fucking haters. The Canadians more or less know what they're doing on a lot of levels. Jeff, what would you do differently if you were king for a day? If you were on the executive, like let's say you're Vince Pinto for a day, and you get to do whatever the fuck you want. What would you do with this target array handbook?
I like the idea, so I would make the handbook more in terms of guidelines as to what we're trying to avoid and prohibit, rather than
Like what?
giving.
What are we trying to avoid?
Like, I understand the impractical target presentations. I actually do.
So you would say you want IPSC to be practical, like this is what I could encounter at for you, the West Edmonton shopping mall. I'm out shopping. Dudes are coming in there shooting the place up. You got to go Bruce Willis on that motherfucker, and you want it to be practical, right? You want IPSC to represent that sort of scenario. Some dude shooting up the mall.
Well, I mean, fundamentally, that's what this sport is based on, is it not?
Well, I suppose, yeah.
And put the targets with the heads back in them.
If I was king for a day, I
Because
would.
America.
All right, so Jeff would have targets with heads, and you like the idea of practical target scenarios.
I do. I would describe what we're trying to do, and I'd give 1 or 2 examples of things to avoid, rather than having the other way around, which is this handbook will give you 2 sentences and give you 50 pictures following. I don't think that's useful.
All right, so you have a problem with the implementation,
I
not
do.
so much the concept. All right, and since you do shoot USPSA on occasion, yeah?
Yes.
All right, do you have a problem with anything you see in USPSA as far as target presentation? Something you would change?
In general, I find matches in the U.S. lean towards having wide open targets are much closer than what we're used to up here.
But that's practical, man. Self-defense scenario. It's going to be, what, like 3 yards, 3 seconds, 3 shots. Boom.
What if you're in that mall and you have to snipe someone from across the corridor? I don't know.
I don't know.
Got to train for that,
Turn
right?
around and run away.
Turn and run. Yeah, you should probably run. Run away. All right, so in the U.S. you don't see a problem.
I don't see a problem. No.
So would you have a target array handbook in the U.S. or no? If you're king of USPSA, you get to be Manny.
Well, for the matches that I've been to, I don't think there's anything that a target array handbook would add to. That being said, I haven't been to many matches. I haven't really been exposed to different match directors and how they set up matches. It's hard to say.
Well, you went to Area 1 one time
I did.
or something. So that was... All right. Well, I guess...
One of the problems I see with this is it will be a never-ending update. It's like some dude posts this array that they shot this weekend, and Vince has to fucking update the dumb book again because he didn't like it. I mean, that's what it's becoming. In just the, like 2 evolutions of it, there's like several different versions out there that they've had to update since people have made these arrays, right?
If I'm not mistaken, there are 3 or 4 editions, but because they're not published, we don't really know how many there have been.
Oh my God.
It does seem odd that it's not listed as a regular rule for IPSC. I like the idea of reining in stupid match directors on some level, but then getting some sort of consensus on what is stupid and what isn't is really tough.
I mean, it's all going to be personal preference, yeah.
Well, I mean, no, like the example Nick gave of zebra striping targets.
That's true.
Let's zebra stripe targets and put it on a swinger. Like, that sounds awesome. It's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy to me. Why would you do that?
You need to make
Well,
sure
I guess
the
it's
target.
better than blindfolding the shooter before the make ready, right?
It's got to be measuring skill versus some kind of random luck of the draw. That's got to be the general guideline, in my opinion.
Well, but you would say no practicality element.
I don't care what.
You don't care about killing
If he
terrorists.
wants to shoot a bunch of Chinese acrobats, let him.
If I wanted to worry about that stuff, I would have just stayed 90 forever.
I'm pretty sure that phrasing Chinese acrobats
I know.
did appear in one version of this somewhere, but it has since been removed.
What's wrong with shooting? Was that racist?
No.
I think it's racist if you say I was shooting a bunch of Chinese people, but shooting like Chinese acrobats is specific enough that I don't think that's fucked up. All right, gentlemen, let's do a shooting question. You ready for it?
Yep.
All right. I originally learned to shoot Weaver stance. All right, so we're off to a good start here, guys.
I'm going out right now.
And recently changed to isosceles with both thumbs forward. I used to overlap weak hand, thumb over strong hand. So I've started shooting IDPA, Jesus Christ. All right, and plan to shoot USPSA, and I'm halfway through your excellent book, Practical Pistol, Fundamental Techniques and Competition Skills. All right, this guy's picking up steam. All right. My question is about long shots and something I'm having a hard time with. And I fuck up. When I engage the pistol with both hands, my left hand is not only gripping the pistol, but also pulling back on it, which is a habit from my Weaver days. This is resulting in my shots drifting to the left pretty consistently. In a recent match, I actually abandoned shooting with both hands on all stages where it was allowed. My accuracy is okay this way, but my speed sucks, and I'm needing to correct things rather than take a play the slice approach. Any advice is appreciated, and many thanks for the materials on and offline. Hopkins, you're the smartest guy on the panel when it comes to shooting stuff. So what do you got?
I don't know, dude. I'm kind of dumbfounded on this.
He's shooting Weaver stance. Let me just cliff notes it for you. Homeboy used to shoot Weaver,
Yeah,
and
but
when he shoots isosceles, he pulls the gun backwards.
And then he thought it was a good idea to shoot strong hand only?
Yes. So the decision making here is real
dude.
interesting.
I don't even know, man.
Well, it's hard not to shit all over this guy. That's what you're trying to do, is think of a way to answer this question without being an asshole. Yeah?
Yeah, I can't come up with one.
So, okay. If you can't do that, yeah, you can answer the question without being a dick. I like that.
He needs to learn trigger control.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Trigger control.
How's that fix him pulling back with his left
Because
hand?
pulling back with the gun with the weak hand that's not the issue. Because it's like, well, my shots start here, but then they end up over there. That tells me that he's just got poor trigger control. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, if grip is consistent, whether it's consistent push-pull or it's consistent 50-50 or anything else, at the end of the day, it comes down to sight alignment and trigger control, right?
I mean,
Would
I'm
you
with
agree?
you so far.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. I've showed students that, honestly, when it comes to just being accurate, grip is kind of secondary to the first two fundamentals, which are the only two fundamentals, which are, again, sight alignment, and trigger control. And if you got proper trigger control, I don't care if you're gripping the gun, like with 50,000 pounds of force, or if you're gripping the gun with 10 pounds of force. As long as your trigger control's there, you should be able to shoot accurately.
All right. Yantola.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with everything that Tim just said. I thought that was really good. I would add to that I think people that have messed up grips, in my opinion, the grip being good is going to help you shoot faster, not really necessarily more accurate. Okay?
Precisely.
So, yeah, if your grip is bad, it's not going to impact your accuracy if you have good trigger control, but it's just going to impact how fast you'll be able to get the sights back on target, right? So one thing I would note here, like I think we would, I'm sure that probably everyone here on the call uses the same kind of grip. It's going to be kind of hard to describe probably really well right now, but Vogel has a really good video that's like really short about the grip. If you just go on YouTube and search Bob Vogel grip, it's going to be the first one that pops up, and he kind of outlines the technique that probably all the top USPSA guys that I'm aware of use today in terms of how to really clamp down the gun. There's no push-pull to it. You're basically just clamping down with your support hand.
The guy asking the question understands that. He just finds himself pulling on the gun anyway.
Well, then practice until you don't do that anymore.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, if you're taking the support hand away and you're using that as a crutch for your logic to think that that's why you're pulling shots, it's not got anything to do with it.
To me, it sounds like he's not dry firing, right? Because if you dry fired for a couple weeks practicing a different grip, you wouldn't be like doing something crazy like pulling on the gun if you'd been practicing not to. Yeah? I mean, you do a couple weeks of doing it like a half hour a day. I mean, what I'm reading this is like, homeboy, you're not practicing, and then you go shooting a match, and your grip is so fucked up that you're just deciding to shoot one-handed.
I would agree with that.
It's like my brain's just like, oh my god! Like, well, two-hand is so fucked up. I'll just shoot with one. Like,
but the main thing too, when he's
shit.
dry firing, if he is dry firing, he's dry firing the wrong things to try to learn.
I can assure you, I would put money on this guy not dry firing.
I'm not arguing with you on that. Definitely.
Dinner at Applebee's money.
But what I'm saying, I mean, how many people do we know that talk about like, oh man, I dry fire 30 minutes a night, 5-6 nights a week, and you see him at the range, and you're like, dude, homeboy can't hit anything, and it's because they're so focused on speed instead of technique. I mean, it sounds to me like this guy actually needs to go back to like absolute fundamental dry fire basics of focus on the front sight and press the trigger without disturbing the front sight, and sights, trigger, follow through. That's what he needs to really focus on and worry about first and foremost.
I'm promising you, this guy doesn't dry fire.
Okay.
I think he needs to fix his grip mechanics and his stance probably before he does anything else, honestly.
All right, Jeff, you're a dry fire master. Not to mention, you practice all the time, as we all know.
Sure. Well,
you're an Alberta GM.
I think a combination of dry fire and live fire is needed, because I can almost see dry fire. He's going to do. He might even pick it up and do well dry fire, but the moment that sound and that recoil and that actual kick comes in, he's going to revert back to exactly how what he learned from before. So combining the dry fire with the good amounts of fundamental live fire, where it's not about speed, it's not about movement, it's simply hitting the target as you want to, I think that's what's needed.
All right, and you learned Weaver stance originally, right?
I did not know.
God damn it! I'm just trying to cause trouble at this point. All right, this is good. Excellent shooting question, guys. If you want to get in touch with Tim Heron, go to hopkinsshooting.com, email him. You two retards have a class coming up, right?
Yes, we do. September 26th and 27th.
All right. Yeah, so go to hopkinsshooting.com and email Matt if you want to take a class with Tim.
Or email me and hit me up on Facebook, too.
Nobody's going to do
got
that.
all of them. God damn it.
If you want Yantola, hit him up on Facebook. It's Nick Yantola spelled really weird.
Yeah, YouTube is good too.
Yantola. And I don't see any reason you want to talk to Jeff Chang. But Jeff, you're on Canadian Gun Nuts, right?
I'm on there, but we just got this whole internet thing up here, so I'm still trying to figure this out.
You've been using that joke for a couple of years now.
I haven't. Yeah.
It's
I've
played
been to
out.
Canada. They have the internet.
What's that? The matches in Canada. If you guys are thinking about going to Canada for a match, go. It's a good time. The only problem is the gun laws are fucking retarded in Canada. Other than that, everything's cool. That's about right, isn't it, Jeff?
I think it is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fairly painless, I think, isn't it? You've been here twice now.
I don't know. The ATT is like silly to me. You need authorization to transport. That one is a little silly. Because then you got, I mean, that was like 3 phone calls, like back and forth, just to get that from me. Then it's like, oh, this is at this location, and this is at that location. Like, oh. So getting the license to transport the gun from your hotel to any range you're going, any place you're going to, that's a little silly. But that's going away soon, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's good. Fuck that law. All right, and if you have any questions for me, head over to bensteger.com. I would love to take your questions for you. Just send it to me, and Hopkins will give you a very intelligent answer to it.